From architecture to painting and sculpture, literature to live music and theater, Radio 111 presents The Desert Scene, your connection to culture and entertainment in the desert cities. Here's Bonnie G.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. I'm your host, Bonnie G, here with my producer, Brian Mendoza. And I'm really happy to be welcome to the show Kim Shroeber Long, who is part of the March Razzle Dazzle cast. And we did one show on the 9th. We got another one coming up on the 23rd. And she's a wonderful performer. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Hi, Bonnie. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So we're this show is so much fun. Of course, we're doing Razzle Dazzle twice a month now at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. Mm-hmm. And we've got another one coming up the 23rd. So tell us a little bit. I know you are from Ohio, right, originally. So tell us a little bit about when you got the theater bug and how your training and career sort of evolved and got you out here to the desert.
How I got from A to B?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am originally from Ohio, rural Ohio, actually. I grew up on a farm in Ohio, so I was pretty far removed from the Razzle Dazzle of show business. But I really fell in love with it. I always call myself sort of a poster child for public television because where I grew up, I really didn't have access to a lot of live entertainment. You had to go pretty far to get that. And just not really something that was part of my culture. So public television and like Tony's telecast really introduced me to theater. And you'd be surprised, even in children's programming on PBS, there was, there were a lot of theatrical personalities that I became familiar with growing up in the 70s and 80s that way. So that's where I really fell in love with it. And then, cast recordings, when I'd make a little babysitting money, I'd go out and spend it on those. So that's how I fell in love with theater. And I ended up doing a theater degree at Bowling Green State University in Ohio. Okay. And in my senior year, I got to do an internship in New York City, and that's where I got to do my first cabaret show.
That's exciting,
Pretty young. Yeah, it was very exciting. It's not there anymore, but it was called Danny's Skylight Room. It was on Restaurant Row. Okay. So that was fun. Yeah, that was right before my 21st birthday. And then let's see. I did some summer stock, met my husband, got married, did some touring children's theater. Then we had kids, and I took a long break. At that time, it just didn't seem really feasible. I think, we've come a long way, and I don't think that expectation is there anymore that you have to be one or the other. Right. At the time, I felt like I had to take a break. So that's what I did, and then eventually they got old enough where I felt like it was okay for me to start easing my way back into stage work. And so I did that, and I kind of established myself in Cincinnati, where we were living. And I did a lot of theater there, Cincinnati Music Theater, Cincinnati Shakes. And then my husband's job moved us to San Francisco Bay Area. So I kind of had to how it is anytime you move, you kind of have to you can network your way in. Took me a little while to get established there, but I did. And then his job relocated us to Pasadena right before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic being the key word there, because everything shut down. So we really never had much of a chance to make any inroads there. And then our latest move was here to Palm Springs. So there you go. How's that for the nutshell of how I got from
excellent. Now I have to ask you, was your family, your initial family, were they supportive of you pursuing this sort of as your career?
I think, considering how foreign it really was to them, I think on balance they were. I don't think they had, what I mean? I didn't come from a place where they even would have known how to support me in really practical ways. I'd never even heard of a conservatory. But in terms of were they supportive? I think qualified support, right? Okay. cautious support.
Yeah.
It was, this is what makes you happy, and this is what you want to do.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing, so was nobody else that was really sort of into theater or music in your family growing up? It was just you?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a drama program at my high school. It was one of those, you do like a musical on, it was one of those, stages in one of those gyms.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I think it's it's a testament to your fortitude and determination and stick-to-itiveness that coming from where it was sort of so foreign that you decided this was what you wanted to, and you did it. So that, that's congratulations to you for that.
It's for you, though, doesn't it? It pulls you, right?
Now, tell me about your husband and your kids are pretty much grown now. Are they supportive of what you're doing now?
Very. In fact, there's no way I could have done any of the work that I've done without their support.
Yeah.
Very supportive. They not just in coming to see my shows and everything, but when I got back into theater, sometimes I'd even bring my kids. Well, especially my youngest would like sit in the theater with me at rehearsals sometimes. And in fact, we got to do a show together when my youngest was just still a child. We did Peter Pan together. And
that's great. That's great.
Mother and child. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Tell me about, I'm looking at your bio, and one of the things on here is innovative immersive theater. So tell people what that is.
So I was part of a show that ran for quite a while in San Francisco. It's no longer running, but it was called The Speakeasy in San Francisco. And it was, immersive theater is very interactive, right? So you come as a guest, but you're kind of part of the show. And you move through the space, and the actors are in character the whole night around you, right? So that's the immersive experience there. And it was very innovative. They have a space in London, I believe it's called Mr. Tipsy's. They've done a couple of other developments like this, but the idea is you purchase your tickets, you don't know exactly where the venue is, they come meet you on the street, very much like a real speakeasy in that sense.
Oh, that's
great. And then
great.
they kind of whisk you away to this underground space. Yeah, it's really, really neat.
Yeah. And now I know you've done portrayals of icons like Bette Davis, Judy Garland, Rosemary Clooney. And by the way, I don't think we're totally sold out on the 23rd. I think there's still a few seats left. I highly recommend you make reservations on Eventbrite, Razzle Dazzle, 7 p.m., PS Cultural Center. And one of the things that you're going to see is a really great Judy Garland song from Kim Shroeber Long. How did you choose those three, Bette Davis, Judy Garland, and Rosemary Clooney, as some of your people that you wanted to portray?
Well, it's sort of like, how did you choose theater, right? I feel like sometimes these things kind of
choose you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely, I know them well. I am a classic film buff. I am I love Judy Garland's music, Rosemary Clooney's music. It's in you. But how I came to play those roles, there's these weird little backstories to all of those things. Somebody saw you doing something or heard you singing something and went, "Oh, you really do sound like her. You can really do a decent impression." But because my training is also in acting and character work, it's I try to transcend impersonation whenever I do portrayals, of these people. I really try to, get into their shoes, so to speak. So I feel like, it was an honor and a privilege to get tapped to play these roles. Yeah. But it's sort of become my thing now. It's like, who else can you do, right?
Yeah. So you've done, now I know I believe you've done a Judy Garland, one-woman Judy Garland show somewhere, correct? Or not?
Yeah, it wasn't really a one-woman show. It's an actual play that Peter Quilter wrote called End of the Rainbow.
Okay.
It's really got three main characters, and then there's also sort of a fourth supporting character who comes in and out. But it's really a story that he wrote about, the movie, the biopic with Renee Zellweger, Judy. I think it was loosely based on Peter Quilter's play. So it's like about the last month or so of Judy Garland's life.
Mm-hmm. And what is it about her? I mean, I know a lot of people think of her as a very tragic figure because, she had issues with drugs and alcohol and died younger than she should have and had some issues with, marriages and that kind of. Is that what is about her specifically that you sort of feel this connection to, or what you reach down and grab onto when you're doing her?
Well, she's larger than life is kind of, I think, what you're getting at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the challenge when you play someone like Judy Garland, and to maybe a lesser extent with someone like, Betty Davis, these are larger than life personas that evolved in an era where we didn't have Twitter and we didn't have Instagram and we didn't have this access to them as their humanity, right? So it was much, I think, there was a mystery there
yes.
to them.
Yes.
That maybe there isn't, I'm trying to think, there's no analog today to a Judy Garland.
No.
Even, you could say Meryl Streep's one of the greatest actresses, but I think we see them more as
human beings, regular people. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that's the challenge when you're playing these characters, is to really, and you read their biographies and you consume as much of their work as you can, but you try really hard to tap into that theatrical imagination that you have that helps you to map to the character psychology, right? And you try to understand who the person is underneath all of this, because they are fundamentally just people who are responding to their circumstances. It's just their circumstances are so different.
Extraordinary, yeah.
Exactly.
What's on your bucket list? Is there a role or a play or a show or something that you'd really love to do that you haven't done yet?
That I haven't done yet?
Yeah.
I have some I'd love to repeat and revisit with the new lens of life experience, but sure. There are a lot of grand dame roles that I think I still have out there ahead of me, I hope, that I would like to play. I always joke about, I love Sondheim, and I feel like A Little Night Music is one of those shows where for a female or for an AFAB, you can literally cycle through a life cycle in that show. You can start with Frederica and you can end with Madame Armfeld.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to Petra, so I'd like to get to Desiree, and then maybe Madame Armfeld someday.
Yeah.
Dolly would be a fun role to play. In classical theater, I've never gotten to play Medea. I'd love to play Medea.
Wow.
But I think there are also unwritten roles out there yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of stories that maybe haven't been told yet that need to be told.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd love to be part of that.
Yeah. Well, Kim Shroeber Long, she is fabulous. You guys have got to come see the Razzle Dazzle on the 23rd because we've got myself, Doug Graham, Tom Makovsky, and Kim Shroeber Long. She's wonderful. I'm so happy.
We'll get time together.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you moved here and you're in the show and we've gotten a chance to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Bunny.
Okay. Kim, have a great day. And the rest of you, we'll see you the next time on The Desert Scene.